Turn the grind, snap the flank.
Kick the boots down the chute.
Watch it roll, hit the pole.
In the tub of rubber dub.
Flip the man in the pan.
The trap is set. Now drop the net. Gotcha! Catch a mouse with MOUSETRAP.
The craziest game you've ever seen. Get the cheese, but don't get trapped.
Mouse on the run. Little mice on the run.
Race them just for fun.
I go here and you go there.
Give the mice a little scare.
Watch them go, don't be slow. The trap is set.
Now
Drop the net. No! Catch a mouse with MOUSETRAP.
From Milton Bradley.
Yes, I always wanted MOUSETRAP, the board game, back in the day, but I didn't have it. Welcome to my review, you guys, for MOUSETRAP for Atari 2600. Now, MOUSETRAP is put up by Coleco, and Coleco was focused on bringing home those arcade hits right to your Atari 2600 system, and they did a pretty good job of it. And when you break out your Coleco games for Atari 2600, you kind of expect quality. But, MOUSETRAP, is it that good? I'm here to tell you maybe not so much. Now, we're going to take a look at the arcade version of MOUSETRAP for comparison. Now, it's not fair to compare the 2600 version to this nice arcade version, but I want you to notice some things. Primarily how the bone is red and separate from the cheese. That's very important. See that? It's red. Now you got your mouse. Now this is the arcade version, so we don't expect Atari to be like this, but there's some important factors, such as when you eat a cat, there's 100 points. Eat him again, there's 300 points. If you manage to eat another, there's a bird. If you manage to eat another cat, well, you'll get more points. And that scoring variety makes it interesting. Now in the arcade version, you go into the middle and you transfer off to a corner. And that's cool. And there's also different things to eat in this game. There's the bird. And the arcade version, it's really nice. Like I said, you don't expect... And there's some cheese to eat. That's very important. These are factors that we want to see in a good MOUSETRAP game. Now, let's just pop MOUSETRAP in to the Atari 2600. There we are. Like I say, we don't expect pure arcade quality. No, we don't. This is what we have. Here's my main gripe. That is the bone I was trying to point out to you earlier. You can hardly even tell it's a bone. Okay, you had trouble with the graphics? Fine, but you could have made that red. It's all I'm asking. If the bones here were red, I would not have made this a negative review. That really bothers me. So here we have MOUSETRAP for Atari 2600. And yes, it's a dot eater. And if you haven't played it in a while, you break it out, you think, oh yeah, that's cool. Now you can open these gates, not 3 ways like the arcade version, but that's okay. But another gripe I have is, when you are the dog and you eat the cat, you just get 10 points. 10 points for each cat, and it doesn't accumulate higher in points. And even Atari 2600 Pac-Man, even Atari 2600 Pac-Man has points get higher as you kill more of the ghosts, and that makes it interesting and you're rewarded. Now the graphics here are decent. That does look like a pretty good mouse, and the cats look like cats. Quite frankly, our mouse looks a lot like...
Hi there. I just got an idea how to make Chuck E.
Our
Cheese
boy
that's
Chuck E.
better than
Cheese.
ever. Brand new pizza. Genius, if I do say so myself.
And that's understandable. I mean, he's a mouse, so yeah, he sure does. But that is my main gripe. And of course, when you transfer into the middle room here, there's nothing to transfer you up to the corners. That was a big... You know, I can understand there's not 3 buttons for Atari, but they could have done something about that where you can zoom to the one of the 4 corners of the screen, just like the arcade. And that is disappointing. Now, switching the doors is cool. That's not really a problem. It's a low-scoring game. You might think, well, it's not so bad, Paul. I mean, all dot eaters can be interesting. but you kind of... Now there is a little strategy in switching these doors, and you'll find yourself beating a screen, and kind of gets it's low scoring. The difficulty kind of ramps up slow, and you kind of come upon a realization.
Figured something out, Beavis. What? This sucks. Yeah, it really sucks. This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before. We must find this butthole that took our TV.
Yeah, you said it, Butthead. This game does kind of suck, man. I mean, I'm disappointed. Again, they did what they could. And hell, we can't expect it to have all these great things like the arcade. That'd be asking way too much, wouldn't it, for the game to look like this? I mean, after all, the Atari 2600 is limited hardware, and they could only do so much with what they did. You know, maybe I'm being a little bit hard on the game. Maybe I'm being a little bit tough on MOUSETRAP or Atari 2600. Maybe there just wasn't enough memory. Maybe I should just relax and give MOUSETRAP a break.
Spoken very eloquently. And I wish I could be as forgiving. But I can't, because this whole thing fucking sucks. I mean, this is the biggest...
Yeah, let's face it, it does suck. Yeah, he's right, it sucks. Let's not kid ourselves. It's just no damn good. And I'm just going to have to say that you should probably just forget it and maybe even skip MOUSETRAP or don't expect much. Well, there's my honest review of MOUSETRAP. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes the truth hurts. Stay tuned for next time with Paul Maxi's Atari 2600 reviews. Have a good night.